Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about the topic of white privilege. So this is something that I've been meaning to talk about for a while, and I kind of definitely wanted to include in this series. So I just kind of wanted to get on here and sort of define white privilege and kind of debunk, or at least give the information to debunk the idea that it might be a myth or that it might not actually exist and could just be like some sort of conspiracy. I briefly talked about it in my previous two videos, the introductory video for this series and then also the video where I talked about racism and how do we talk about racism with somebody in your life who might be racist. And I thought the next thing I wanted to do was kind of just get on here and really define it. And my wanting to define it comes from the place that a lot of people are automatically turned off or confused by the word privilege when it comes to white privilege. So I think that a main reason for a lot of people not believing in it, or a lot of people being confused by it or thinking that it doesn't exist, well, number one is that they don't have the correct information, and number two, that it might be confusing for a lot of people because they immediately hear the word privilege and think, hey, I'm not getting any advantage. I personally am not getting any advantage, so how can there be a privilege just based on the color of my skin? So what is white privilege? On the internet, you'll find the definition: the societal privilege that benefits white people over non-white people, particularly if they are otherwise in the same social, political, or economic circumstances. So that's what you'll find if you do a quick Google search. But what is it really? A good way to look at it is as the inherent advantage in society that can be attributed to your whiteness. So I think some people get confused, like I was saying before, with the word privilege, and they think, hey, I'm not getting any advantage based on being white. I'm not getting anything just because I'm white. I have to work hard. There are people that are in unfortunate circumstances and they're white. So people immediately think, hey, that's not true. All white people aren't getting privileges and advantages based on being white. A lot of us just have to work very hard. I think it's important to look at it as almost an unspoken benefit or an unspoken advantage versus something that you're clearly given, something that might be even palpable. You personally may not feel like you can directly relate to being given anything or having any advantage based on your whiteness, but that's because it's more of an implicit benefit or advantage that just allows you a certain step up in the world. For the most part, it's built in, it's systemic, and those sorts of things are harder to see, especially when you don't feel personally affected by it or you don't have any personal connection to it. Another important point to note is that this inherent advantage is inherent, so it's not likely at any fault of your own. This doesn't mean that you did something to get this privilege or this privilege was bestowed upon you. It's inherent because of the system. And so that's why you might not directly relate to it, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And it might help if you understand it's likely at no fault of your own. As a white person in this day and age, in this society, it's likely that this privilege has nothing to really do with you specifically as a person, but has to do with where this advantage came from. And the advantage comes from the idea that in this society, white has always been the default or the superior race. All other races have been other or inferior. And the black race specifically has been deemed inferior. And the black race has specifically been oppressed based on the sole fact that they are black. So herein lies the advantage. None of your struggles as a white person are based off of the color of your skin. And that is the advantage. That is the inherent advantage. Just based on something that you have no control over, the color of your skin, you are automatically seamed and grouped into this special group of superior or default. And specifically with the black race, you are inherently grouped into the category of inferior or other. And that is where the main difference lies. As a black person, your entire life struggle may be based off the color of your skin. That's just a reality for black people in America. And there is no reality or world, well, I shouldn't say the world, but there is no reality in America in which your entire life struggle could be based off of the color of your skin. That's just not how it works, because white people have not been oppressed. They have been the oppressor. They have not been the oppressed. So if you're not part of the group that has been oppressed based on the color of your skin, you inherently are at an advantage. So don't think of it as white privilege means that you don't face hardships, you don't face struggles, everything's given to you, your life is so easy and you're so lucky in that way. That's not where the advantage part comes from. It's literally based on the fact that you do not face any of these struggles or hardships based on the color of your skin. So you might go through struggles and hardships in your life, but they're not and never will be based on the color of your skin as a white person. So some people still might hear that information and say, okay, well, I still don't see how you can prove that it exists, which to me is quite hilarious. Obviously, as a black person, I can tell you firsthand that it exists. The universal answer for that is that it can be measured. There are proven socioeconomic, educational, and even quality of life disparities. And these studies all show time and time again that the reason behind these disparities is race. You can look at the numbers and you can see the disparities based on one factor, one main factor that seeps into every other aspect, and that is race. And that's how you know that white privilege exists, because there's an inherent advantage that has been studied and has been researched time and time again to show that if you are black, your experience and your life will be much different than if you're white. And a black person and a white person moving through the same world with the same exact credibilities, the white person will always have a leg up. This is something that our society, I was going to say we as a society, unfortunately I'm a part of the society, but we as a society have created, and that is why it is so toxic, because we as a society are the only people who can get rid of it, and specifically white people are the only people that can get rid of it, because they have to confront the issue, believe it first and foremost. You can't really do anything if you don't believe that it's an issue that exists, and talk about it and make actual steps to change it. Okay, so that's pretty much all that I wanted to say about this specific concept. I really just kind of wanted to get granular with it and give you guys a real detailed explanation of what it actually means versus what people think that it means. And I hope this cleared up any confusion that some people might have. And I also would love to recommend that if you are interested in white privilege as any person of any race, I would definitely recommend watching Chelsea Handler's Netflix documentary that she just did. It's called Hello Privilege, It's Me, Chelsea, and she goes on a quest to essentially understand white privilege as a white woman. And I think it's incredible, and this actually inspired me to finally create this video, because it just brought to light so many different aspects of white privilege that people are constantly going back and forth about, and so many different aspects that are never really spoken about, and the main fact that white people are the people that can change this unfortunate and unfair concept that exists in our society of white privilege. And as I've said before, my intent with this series is to have an open and honest dialogue and also bring information to people that they might not have had before. My intention is not to tell people you're right, you're wrong, you're this, you're that. My intention is really genuinely for an open and honest conversation. I think we can't really change things when we don't have conversations about them, and when people don't feel like they have anyone that they can talk to about it, or automatically feel that their ideas or their opinions are wrong. So please feel free to leave any questions or comments that you have down below in the comment section, and I would love to get a conversation started about this. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, sending all the light and the love the universe has to offer your way.